Hey, how is it going? I'm coming on just a little late today. I've been back to back all morning and the noon whistle started going off and I realized it was noon and I'm supposed to be live, so here I am. How's everybody doing today? As you can see, I'm back. No longer in the tropical paradise, which is very sad, but we're happy to be home as well. So hope that you are all enjoying your winter. If you are here with me, say hello. Would love to say hi to you. And if you are joining on replay, say hi, #replay. I'm going to cut right to the chase today. I don't have a lot of time. Today I want to talk about baby steps to big change. So this is something that I talk about a lot with people because I find that people are afraid to focus on their self-care because they think it's a big job. They think that there is a lot of effort that goes into it. They're not wrong. There is a lot of effort that goes into it, but it does not have to be all at once. And that is the thing that I think we all forget. Hello, I see someone jumping on there. Nice to see you. Feel free to reveal yourself. Anyway, so people I think are very daunted by this idea of, especially people that are in chronic pain or have had nagging issues for years and they've tried everything, the PT and the MRIs and the x-rays and this and that, and it just never seems to go away. A lot of times I feel like people throw in the towel and they're like, it's too big of an endeavor, it's too hard, I'm just gonna hope for the best and hope that things change. But they will not change without actually working towards that. So I wanted to talk about how we can bake in these little steps. And I've talked about this before in many different versions. But today I'm going to show you a couple of things you can do with the ball that are super mini little baby steps, teeny tiny steps that actually do yield big changes, and how with a lot of those little baby steps, we actually do achieve real big and organic change. So I just wanted to think about a couple of examples of ways that in real life, not related to body rolling or to any kind of ball stuff, but real life ways that we can make these tiny organic changes that lead to actual real transformation. And I don't have a lot of great examples off the top of my head, so if you have some and you want to share them, please do. But one of the things that did pop into my mind was when somebody is very unhappy in their job and they want to make a career change. That can feel incredibly daunting, incredibly impossible. If you've been in the same job for years, or if you want to change completely to a whole different field, it can be really scary. And I find that a lot of people, I actually have several friends that are miserable in their work and are not really working towards changing it. But what I have found in my own life as well, with jobs, specifically to jobs and stuff, if you just start looking at what other jobs there are, it leads to all of this inspiration. And it might not lead to actually changing your job, and it might not lead to a specific job that you have in mind, but what it does do is it makes you think of all these other possibilities that you would never have thought of if you had not been browsing Craigslist or whatever. So that's an example of how when you start to take these little baby steps, it leads you on maybe a completely different route than what you were expecting to go on, but it will probably be a more appropriate route because you are following your interests and your the things that kind of light you up and make you feel giddy. So when you take the baby steps and you kind of just one foot in front of the other, it will eventually lead to your ideal dream life. But if you just try to skip it and just kind of take one big leap or bound from point A to point B, you're going to miss all kinds of things along the way that will actually inform your choices and decisions and maybe even completely change your trajectory. So I've been thinking about that lately because of my own personal journey and in my career and in my whole life goal. As a younger person starting out, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I certainly wasn't setting out to be a business owner. And it was slow going, very slow going for a long time. And I'm only just now picking up momentum, but it's because I had a vision of what I wanted my life to be like, but I didn't know how to get there, and I was doing all the wrong things. I started finally just like step by step by step, day by day by day, and it's eventually started to blossom. And now the momentum is picking up, and I'm seeing like my wildest dreams come true. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Here's how we can make this relevant to your body. So if you have a pearl or black ball, if you have both, get them handy. And these are all I'm just going to show you 2 or 3 little things that you can do that are the simplest thing in the world that, so they're baby steps that will actually show you how it can lead to bigger changes. So I'm just going to dive right in because I really do only have a few minutes today. So first things first, this is something that a colleague of mine showed me when I was actually working at the Yamuna flagship studio on Perry Street back in the day. And I was on like it's kind of like a bar stool with like a little half back, and that was my sort of computer station. I was the receptionist there. So I would it was actually pretty ergonomic, but I would just get into a situation where I would start leaning forward. By the end of the day, I was like really far forward and like really hunched over and stuff at my desk. And another fellow Yamuna practitioner, it was actually Vicky. Vicky, if you're watching on replay, major shout out. Thank you, Vicky. She's in this group. She came up behind me and she's like, put the ball in your armpit. I was like, okay. This is before I was a practitioner. This was like 2005. I had been taking classes, but I had not become certified yet. So I'm back in this, so you can see me a little better. So here I'm sitting on my little stool on my workstation and I'm all hunched over, and she's like, here, put this ball in your armpit. I was like, okay, that actually feels really good. So I want you to try it now. And then just take a couple breaths before you do anything else. Just take a couple breaths, and as you're breathing, have this sense of the sides of the ribs, specifically the side near the ball. Feel that side expanding to the ball. So I'm going to show you a visual with my hand. So like your ribs are spreading apart. So I want you to feel a sense of your ribs spreading apart and reaching for the ball. So lateral breathing. Good. Now I want to show this from the side. So what I'm not doing is I'm not letting myself go into this. So I'm keeping my spine basically straight. My pelvis is neutral. I'm sort of right at the very tippy fronts of my sit bones. So I'm not allowing this to happen. And again, I'm breathing into my sides. You can even see a little undulation there as I breathe. Good. Okay, now you can take it a little bit further. So I'm going to actually get on my knees for this because I think it'll be easier for you to see. Now, you can take your hand and either grab your wrist or somewhere in your forearm. If you can reach, you can grab all the way to your elbow. I'm going to kind of choose right around here, my forearm. I'm going to pull my arm towards my midline. So I'm pulling my arm this way. This is causing me to squeeze the ball tighter between my ribs and my armpit. Okay, so I'm using this hand's doing all the work. This hand's grabbing onto my hand, my other hand. There's no work happening here. And again, I'm going to take a couple breaths into the sides of my ribs. As you're doing this, can you guess what's happening? See if you can kind of figure out what the process is here. And if you have any ideas, feel free to type them. I know you're actually, if you're watching, you're probably doing this, so you're not going to stop and type right now, that's fine, but we'll talk about it in a minute. So what's happening is you're actually opening the entire shoulder as you do this. So the ball is coming up underneath of your shoulder joint. Your shoulder joint is composed of your collarbone, shoulder, arm bone, your humerus here, and then back here, your shoulder blade bone. So all three of those bones come together right here to form the shoulder. Those bones get all locked together. If you've ever taken shoulder class with me or my TechNet class or something, you've heard me talk about this a lot. Those bones get stuck together via adhesions on the surrounding fascia, tendon, muscle, all that stuff. So as those adhesions form, it compacts the bones together. What we can do to get rid of that is actually let the ball come up underneath the bones and spread them apart. Now, after you've been here for a bit, you've probably been there for a couple of minutes, go ahead and relax your shoulders. If you're standing, this would probably be a little easier to feel if you're standing, but I'll back up so you can see that in a second. See what this feels like. So just close your eyes for a second. See how the two shoulders feel different. Take a couple breaths. And then if you have a mirror, you can look in the mirror and see what you notice. So I don't know if you can see on me. It looks like a little bit. Okay. So if you can see on me, this is the shoulder I just did. It's lower than my other shoulder, right? So, I mean, it's not drastically, I'm not like down here or anything, but it's a bit lower to the point where I have more space now between my ear and my shoulder. And I also feel different in my back, so that because I've opened up this and kind of let it come back a little bit more into place, now my back is freer. So it's not feeling as much like I'm kind of, my shoulder blade is creeping forward. It doesn't feel like that anymore. Now my shoulder blade is able to just rest on my back. And that happened from that, what was that, like 2 or 3 minutes of working in the shoulder without even getting on the floor or anything. It's literally something I used to do at my work desk. Now, because I don't want anyone to be lopsided while I'm chatting, go ahead and do your other side. So you're going to place the ball in that shoulder. You're going to pull that arm towards you. So we might spend a little less time on this, but you can always go back and do it on your own time later and spend a little bit more time on it. What I forgot to show you actually was, and I don't know if there's a difference or not, we'll see here, from just where my fingertips set. Okay, it looks like my fingertips on this side are a hair longer. So that has facilitated, since I spent a lot of time on this already, that has facilitated a full arm release. So now these are like pretty small little changes. You have to know what to look for, but you can see that my fingertips set at a little bit of a lower spot on my thighs from just that opening. So hopefully you've been on this other side while I've been chatting and doing this other side, breathing into your breath. Yes. Okay, so that's one example of how a little baby step can start to lead to lots of bigger steps. So of course, if you have shoulder pain or back pain or whatever, that one little thing is not going to cure that issue. But what it will do is lift the veil and start to create the process that will eventually organically fix that issue. So one little like anecdote that I wanted to throw in here regarding this sort of like organic change versus like forcing a big change. In classical dance, classical ballet, now I don't know how true this is. I've never trained classically, but I have heard stories about people way back in the day in these classical ballet classes where their teachers, in order to get them, turnout in ballet, external rotation, turnout is like this huge thing in ballet. And what the teachers would do, supposedly, is they would have their students like lie on their back with their bottoms of their feet together, and they would sit on their knees. They would sit on their knees to force their turnout. Now, this may not be true. I hope that it's not true for those dancers' sake, but I suspect that there have been practices like this. And the reason that is so messed up is because, first of all, it can create serious injury, but you're not actually achieving real change. You might get the knees to open up and you might get a little bit more turnout during that brief moment, but it's not going to be lasting change. If you want to increase your turnout, you have to take these baby steps to work to restore space in the joint, to lengthen the tendons, to free adhesions, to get the hip, knee, and ankle to line up. There's tons of stuff that goes into that. You can't just sit on someone's knee and be like, okay, now you have a turnout. And that's true for so many things in life. So I just wanted to give that example of, forcing these like artificial changes against real lasting organic change. Let's do one other little exercise that'll show you pretty vividly how much change you can make with just a small little baby step. So this is a really familiar one to most of you, but it's really worth doing. And if you have actually, I was going to say if you have a black ball, go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to, as usual, give you a choice. So we're going to just do a little sit bone release. And if you do the pearl one, it's going to create more space. If you do the black one, it's going to go deeper and create, do more about adhesion freeing. I see a message here. Are black balls also an option for this? Yes. Thank you, Sue, for asking. Yes, they are. I think you're probably referring to the arm thing. So Sue, if you did this with the arm, same thing. It's not quite as much space. It doesn't create quite as much space, of course, but in some ways it's a little bit more manageable. This can feel like it's going to pop out. So you have to really find that sweet spot. But yeah, I mean, just like all the routines, they're fairly interchangeable, depends on what your focus is. So for this next one, the little sit bone roll, this one, the bigger one, of course, will create more width, more space in the joint. This one will go deeper to really free the adhesion. So you can choose what you want for right now. Let me back up so that you can see this a little better. So this is a familiar roll for most of you that are probably watching. Most of you that watch are already seasoned rollers. I'm just going to have to deal with my head being cut off here because I don't want to keep going back and forth. So go ahead and place the ball on your sit bone. Do your basic rolling around. So you're outlining the ball you're outlining the bone with the ball. And if you've taken my classes, you know I love to talk about the image of the clock face. So as you're circling, you are imagining that you are rolling through each number on the clock. And you don't want to skip any of those numbers, okay? So there's going to be some numbers that are tempting to skip. That's a cue that your body's telling you that you need to slow down, be more deliberate, think it through, and really go there. Because if you're not going into that area, you're not using your full range of motion. And that's probably true in all of your daily activities then. So a few more times, go ahead and reverse your direction if you haven't yet. So we do go both clockwise and counterclockwise. I'm using the black ball just because I wanted a little bit more intensity, but you could be doing this with the pearl too, so I'll show it that way as well. Or silver or gold, any of the balls will work for this. Now once you've done your circles both directions, here I am on my sit bone. I have my thigh bone going this way. I have my sit bone going that way. My goal is to create more space right here at the back of the hip joint. So I want to let my thigh extend out, and I want to let my sit bone drop down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that deep breath, sinking down. My weight's heaviest as I exhale. I'm going to scooch back a little bit. Okay, so I went from here to here. Now I'm officially in the back of the hip joint. The intensity increases. I can feel the ball in the soft tissue. It's in the tendons. That translates down my leg. I can feel the connection into my knee. I'm going to not let my leg tighten up. So it's tempting to grip or sort of resist the ball. Instead, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to press into the ball with my hand and invite the ball through the layers all the way up into the joint and into the bones. I'm doing my best to not grip here. Now I'm doing this quickly for time's sake today, but this is something that you could spend more time on if you want, but you'll see after just this, you'll see the difference. So now I'm going to do what we call cross fibering, and this is, that's fibering, not firing. Sometimes people mishear me and think I'm saying cross firing. Not talking about that. Cross fibering means that I am intersecting the muscle fibers. In this case, they are vertical fibers running from my hip to my knee. I'm going to go horizontally across those fibers in order to intersect them and peel them apart. So the 3 hamstring tendons, if they're glued together, I'm just working them free. And I do that a few times. I'm really trying hard to not grip my leg. It's tempting to tighten up. I'm going to try not to do that. My hand helps with that. So I do this a few times and then come off the ball. After you've done that on one side, if I can, this is going to be hard to get the right angle here so you can see this, but let's see if I even have, I'm guessing that I'm going to have more length on my right side than my left. I'm checking in to make sure that my sit bones are in the same place so I'm not thrust forward or back. So my sit bones are in the same plane. Let's see what my feet look like. Okay, good. Quite a difference there. Let's see if I can swivel around so you can see. Nope, let's see. I can't get it so you can see. Nope. Let's try it like this. Maybe this way. It's really hard to see from this angle, but okay, there, you can probably see it. What's happening here is my heel on my right foot is about that much further out than it is on the other foot. So what I've done is released all this adhesion and tension here, even without rolling down my whole leg. That allows my leg to release, which then leads to one foot setting in front of the other after I've only done one side. Now, obviously do the other side. I'm not going to walk you through the other side right now. You can go ahead and start it while I'm chatting for just a second before I sign off, but I don't have time to go through the whole other side at this moment, but you continue so that you're not lopsided, because you can imagine what that would be like if you go about your day. One foot is basically, essentially, one leg is longer than the other now, right? So if you're walking around like that, that's going to create all kinds of weird compensation patterns. So don't stop until you've done both sides. But I think that's a really clear example of how easy it is to make really lasting change with these baby steps. Now, of course, that can lead to other things. Just like I was saying, when you take the baby steps, it might change your route a little bit. So once you start working in that hip and you start seeing how that's easy to release it, well, now your body might say, I'm ready to go down the rest of my leg and I want to really address this whole hip to knee issue that I've been having, or whatever it is. So it leads to other things, but you don't know which way to go until you start taking the baby steps. And that's why I love this work, and I feel like it integrates so much into all the concepts of our lives and trying to find happiness and trying to, reach our dreams. So that's kind of my little spiel today. I have one little offer for you, which is take the baby step for your life and take my Tech Neck workshop coming up. So it's coming up March 15th through 19th, 5 days, every day at 1 p.m. or on replay. If you've taken it before, it's certainly valuable to take it again. If you've never taken it, definitely take it, because it's your first baby step towards overall body sustainability. So I think that once you start doing these little things, it excites you and it gets you interested in, filling your life with all of these things that can bring greater joy. So that is it for today. I have a couple of ideas for what I want to do my next little focus classes on. So I'm going to make a poll. So if you're watching today, or if you have any requests, definitely post them in the group. But if you're watching today, keep a lookout for that poll, because I want to hear what you want to hear about and what you want to learn about for our next week. So I'll be back next week at noon, and I look forward to seeing you then. If you have any questions, let me know here in the thread. Otherwise, ciao for now. Bye, Sue. Thanks for coming. And I saw your message. I will respond to it here momentarily. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Just keep following those baby steps and just put one foot in front of the other. You will eventually get there, I promise. We always do. Bye.